Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to help you grasp complex topics quickly and thoroughly.
Cutting through the noise.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a nation wrestling with its identity, facing external threats, and debating the very idea of how it should be governed. Leaders rise and fall not just through military might, but through the profound weight of their choices. Our deep dive today takes us into an ancient yet incredibly relevant text. 1 Samuel.
That's right. And this isn't just a historical account, it's really a foundational narrative. It introduces us to some of the most iconic figures and, dramatic shifts in a nation's history.
Right.
We'll explore improbable beginnings, the complex nature of power, and the surprising ways divine purpose unfolds through, very human decisions.
Our mission, as always, is to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight from this material for you, helping you see the surprising facts and key turning points, the stuff that often gets missed in a casual reading.
Yeah, going beyond the surface.
Exactly, to understand the deeper currents at play. So we begin with the poignant and frankly heart-wrenching story of Hannah. Picture her, a deeply troubled woman, barren, and constantly provoked by her rival wife, Peninnah.
Tough situation.
She pours out her soul in silent, anguished prayer at Shiloh, a central place of worship, even as her husband Elkanah tries, to comfort her.
What's truly striking here is the immediate misunderstanding with Eli, the high priest. He observes her moving lips but silent prayer, and, he misjudges her profound sorrow, mistakes her for being drunk.
Which is quite the leap.
Right. But Hannah's dignified response, "I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have been pouring out my soul to the Lord." It quickly rectifies this. And Eli offers a blessing.
Yeah.
That shift from judgment to blessing marks a crucial turning point for her, I think.
And from this bitter sorrow, a remarkable promise is born. Hannah conceives and gives birth to Samuel, whose very name, ask of the Lord, echoes her desperate plea. True to her vow, she dedicates him to the Lord for life, presenting him to Eli at Shiloh after he is weaned, bringing a significant sacrifice, a 3-year-old bull, flour, and wine.
And Hannah's subsequent prayer of rejoicing, the one in chapter 2, it's incredibly profound because it paints such a vivid picture of these divine reversals.
Yeah, the barren bearing many.
Exactly. The full hiring themselves out for food, the hungering no more. It's a powerful theological statement about God's justice, humbling the proud and exalting the humble. It really sets a thematic stage for the entire book.
Meanwhile, you get this stark contrast emerging, right within the heart of the religious establishment.
Right.
While young Samuel ministers before the Lord, wearing a linen ephod, that garment signifying his priestly service, Eli's own sons, Hophni and Phinehas, are described as, wicked men.
Yeah, sons of Belial in some translations.
Yeah.
They showed no regard for the Lord.
They treated the Lord's offerings with contempt, demanding raw meat, taking more than their share.
Even engaging in sexual immorality with women serving right there at the tent of meeting. It's shocking stuff.
The devastating insight here, I think, is that unchecked corruption, particularly in leadership, especially religious leadership, it doesn't just erode moral integrity.
No, it actively invites catastrophe, national catastrophe and divine judgment. Eli's weak attempts to rebuke his sons are just insufficient.
Completely.
Which leads to that direct prophecy from a man of God against his entire house. With the chilling specificity that Hophni and Phinehas would die on the same day.
Wow.
It foreshadows a complete reshaping of Israel's spiritual and governmental structure.
Into this corrupt context, young Samuel receives his profound divine calling. 3 times he hears a voice calling his name in the temple near the Ark of God.
That sacred chest, yes, symbolizing God's presence.
And 3 times he instinctively runs to Eli, thinking Eli called him. It's only in the 3rd time that Eli, maybe slowly grasping the divine nature of the calls, realizes it's the Lord.
This is such a powerful aha moment about hearing God's voice, isn't it? Especially for someone who did not yet know the Lord directly. Samuel learns to respond, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening."
A classic line.
Absolutely. And his first prophetic message is a chilling confirmation of the doom awaiting Eli's family because of their unchecked wickedness.
Right.
Samuel, despite his fear, faithfully relays the message to Eli, who responds with this resigned acceptance.
Yes.
He is the Lord, let him do what is good in his eyes.
Which is quite something.
It is. Yeah. And Samuel's reputation as a prophet becomes widely recognized throughout Israel, signaling this shift in divine favor.
Then a devastating blow unfolds. The Israelites go to battle against their long-standing enemies, the Philistines, and are decisively defeated. Desperate, the elders make a fateful decision. They bring the Ark of the Lord's Covenant from Shiloh to the battlefield, believing this sacred object will, magically save them.
Yeah, treating it like a good luck charm.
And Eli's sons, Hophni and Phinehas, accompany the Ark.
What's truly fascinating here is the Philistines' initial reaction. When they hear the shout accompanying the Ark's arrival, they are genuinely terrified. They think, a god has come into the camp.
You can understand why.
Sure. But their fear galvanizes them into action. Let us be strong. And in the ensuing battle, Israel suffers a catastrophic defeat. Thousands of foot soldiers lost.
And crucially.
Crucially and symbolically, the Ark of God is captured. And Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, die.
Exactly as prophesied.
A precise fulfillment, confirming the judgment on Eli's house.
The news of these horrific events reaches Eli, who is 98 and nearly blind, sitting by the road, his primary fear fixed on the Ark.
Yeah, not even his sons primarily, but the Ark.
When he hears that the Ark of God has been captured, and especially that his sons are dead, he falls backward from his chair, breaks his neck, and dies.
Wow, just like that.
And his daughter-in-law, Phinehas' pregnant wife, goes into labor upon hearing the news, gives birth, and names her son Ichabod, declaring, "The glory has departed from Israel," before she too dies.
What a tragic end. It's a complete fulfillment of the prophecy, highlighting that direct link between Eli's failed leadership and the nation's spiritual and physical defeat. So the captured ark then becomes this unexpected source of trouble for the Philistines themselves.
Right. It's not exactly a blessing for them either.
Not at all. They bring it to Dagon's temple in Ashdod, Dagon being their chief deity, sort of half man, half fish. And twice Dagon's idol is found fallen prostrate before the ark.
Flat on its face.
The second time with his head and hands broken off. It's a clear demonstration of the supremacy of Israel's God over pagan deities. It even leads to this local custom of not stepping on Dagon's threshold there.
But the problems don't stop there for the Philistines. The Lord's hand, as the text says, is heavy upon their cities. Ashdod, Gath, Ekron, wherever the ark is brought.
Afflicting the people with painful tumors and widespread panic, they quickly realize they've got to return it.
Yeah, this thing is bad news for us.
This really compels us to consider how different cultures interpret and respond to perceived divine power, doesn't it? The Philistine priests and diviners, seeking a solution, advise sending a guilt offering. 5 gold tumors and 5 gold rats, corresponding to the number of Philistine rulers.
A rather specific offering.
Very. And their unique test is to hitch 2 unyoked cows with calves to a new cart carrying the ark and the offering. If the cows go directly to Beth Shemesh, an Israelite city, it would confirm divine intervention, not just bad luck.
And sure enough, with no human guidance, the cows head straight for Beth Shemesh, lowing all the way without turning left or right.
An undeniable sign. The people of Beth Shemesh rejoice at the miraculous sight of the ark, offering the cows as a burnt offering in thanksgiving.
But then, another problem.
Right. Even among God's own people, there's danger. The people of Beth Shemesh also suffer a heavy blow. 70 men are struck down for irreverently looking into the ark.
Oof.
It illustrates that holiness must be approached with reverence. This leads them to ask, who can stand in the presence of the Lord, this holy God? The ark is eventually moved to Kiriath Jearim and remains there, largely untouched, for 20 years.
20 years. That suggests a period of, spiritual dormancy, maybe?
Yeah, it seems so. Sort of uneasy distance from God's immediate presence.
During this extended period, Samuel rises to prominence as Israel's judge and spiritual leader. He effectively calls Israel to national repentance,
urging them to rid themselves of foreign gods like Baals and Ashtoreths and serve only the Lord. They assemble at Mizpah, confessing their sins. It's a real moment of turning back.
This collective repentance then sets the stage for a new confrontation with the Philistines who gather to attack Mizpah.
But this time, the outcome is completely different. Samuel intercedes with the burnt offering, and the Lord thunders against the Philistines, routing them completely before Israel.
A huge victory.
Absolutely. Samuel commemorates this decisive victory and the subsequent period of peace by setting up a stone named Ebenezer, meaning, "Thus far has the Lord helped us."
Marking a profound turning point for Israel under Samuel's leadership. But as Samuel grows old, he appoints his sons, Joel and Abijah, as judges over Israel. And here, a disheartening pattern emerges.
Yeah, you see it coming, don't you? They do not follow his righteous ways. They turn aside for dishonest gain, accept bribes, pervert justice.
Just like Eli's sons.
Exactly. It's history repeating itself, sadly.
This renewed corruption at the highest level of judicial leadership leads the elders of Israel to demand a king, explicitly asking for one like all the other nations.
Well, Samuel is displeased, understandably. He recognizes the spiritual implications, but the Lord clarifies the true nature of their request. It is not you they have rejected, but they have rejected me as their king.
Wow. That puts it bluntly.
It does. This reveals a pivotal moment where the people prioritize visible human leadership over direct divine guidance. They're seeking conformity with surrounding cultures, rather than maintaining their unique covenant relationship with God.
The Lord then instructs Samuel to warn the people about the, let's say, downsides of kingship.
The harsh realities, yeah.
Yeah.
He explains that a king will take their sons for chariots and military service, their daughters for perfumers and cooks,
Take the best of their fields and vineyards, a tenth of their grain and flocks.
and ultimately make them his slaves. It's a stark warning.
Yet the people stubbornly refuse to listen. They insist, no, we want a king over us, with a king to lead us and to go out before us and fight our battles.
Despite the clear warning, the Lord tells Samuel to give them a king, which highlights this fundamental tension, doesn't it? God permits human desires, even when they might lead to future hardship.
He lets them have what they ask for, consequences and all.
Pretty much.
So enter Saul, a Benjamite, described as an impressive young man, a head taller than any of the others, a physically imposing figure, just what you'd expect the people wanted.
Right. And his story begins quite mundanely, searching for his father Kish's lost donkeys.
Just an everyday chore.
What's truly intriguing here is how divine purpose intersects with this ordinary quest. Saul's servant suggests consulting a man of God who turns out to be Samuel, known then as a seer.
Right.
Unbeknownst to Saul, the Lord had already revealed to Samuel the day before that he would send a man from Benjamin to be anointed leader over Israel.
Perfect time.
Exactly. Samuel meets Saul, immediately reassures him the donkeys are found, and then hints at his far greater destiny, transforming a mundane task into a divine appointment.
Saul is then anointed privately by Samuel. He pours oil on his head, kisses him, symbolizing his divine selection.
And Samuel gives Saul several signs that will be fulfilled, including meeting prophets and being changed into a different person by the Spirit of the Lord.
And these signs happen.
They do. Fulfill that very day, serving as external confirmation of his inner transformation and divine calling.
Saul is subsequently chosen publicly by Lot at Mizpah, same place Israel had repented under Samuel.
Right. He initially hides among the baggage, which is interesting. Maybe humility, apprehension.
Could be either. But he's brought out, standing tall above everyone. The people enthusiastically declare, "Long live the king."
Samuel explains the regulations of kingship, writes them down, formalizing the new structure. Saul begins his reign, though some troublemakers openly despise him, which kind of foreshadows future disunity.
Right. Not everyone's immediately on board. Saul's first major test as king comes swiftly when Nahash the Ammonite besieges Jabesh Gilead, threatening to gouge out the right eye of every man.
Brutal.
Saul, hearing the news, is dramatically filled with the Spirit of God and burned with anger. He takes oxen, cuts them into pieces, sends them throughout Israel with a message.
Pretty graphic call to arms.
It works, though. Rallies an incredible 300,000 men of Israel and 30,000 of Judah. It shows his newfound, spirit-empowered leadership and the people's unified response.
Saul's swift and decisive victory over the Ammonites leads the people, in their enthusiasm, to want to punish those who had initially questioned his kingship.
Yeah, let's get those guys.
But Saul, in a moment of magnanimity, maybe true humility, declares, "No one shall be put to death today, for this day the Lord has rescued Israel."
That's a classy move.
It is an act of grace that solidifies his position, leads to the reaffirmation of his kingship at Gilgal, marked by sacrifices. It's a promising start to his reign, really.
Samuel then delivers this powerful farewell speech, reminds the people of the Lord's past faithfulness, warns them about the dire consequences of disobedience.
And to underscore his message, he provides that dramatic sign: thunder and rain during the wheat harvest. Totally unnatural for that season.
Which terrifies the people into confessing their sin for asking for a king in the first place.
Exactly. Samuel assures them not to fear, but to serve the Lord with all their heart, and promises to keep praying for them. He clearly outlines the path for national success under this new monarchy.
Okay, things are looking up.
But, however, Saul's reign soon shows significant cracks. And this reveals a crucial insight about the cost of impatience and disobedience in leadership.
Here we go.
Facing the Philistines in Michmash, Saul waits 7 days for Samuel, as instructed. But when Samuel doesn't arrive at the precise set time, and his men begin to scatter, Well, Saul takes matters into his own hands.
What does he do?
He offers the burnt offering himself, usurping a priestly role. It's an act of religious transgression born of human fear and impatience, his first major failure.
Samuel arrives just as Saul finishes the offering. Awkward timing.
Terribly awkward, and Samuel immediately condemns him. You acted foolishly. You have not kept the command. Your kingdom will not endure. The Lord has sought out a man after his own heart.
Wow. That's quick and decisive.
It's a profoundly significant moment, an irreversible prophecy foreshadowing Saul's eventual rejection and replacement. It shows that the consequences of disobedience can be foundational, far-reaching.
Yeah, and there's more evidence of Israel's vulnerability under Saul, isn't there? The whole blacksmith situation.
Right. The Philistines have this shrewd technological control. No blacksmiths allowed in Israel.
So Israelites had to go to the Philistines even to sharpen their farm tools.
Exactly. And only Saul and his son Jonathan possess actual swords or spears. This technological disparity highlights Israel's military disadvantage and dependence, underscores the precariousness of their situation.
Yet, amidst this vulnerability, Jonathan, Saul's son, displays incredible faith and initiative.
He really does. He launches a solo attack with just his armor-bearer against a Philistine outpost.
That takes guts.
And faith. His powerful belief, nothing can hinder the Lord from saving, whether by many or by few, directly leads to a divinely sent panic among the Philistines.
A striking contrast to Saul's earlier impatience shows the power of genuine trust in God.
Absolutely. But Saul's leadership continues to be flawed. He demonstrates this conflict between rigid adherence to rules and the greater good.
How so?
He imposes a rash oath forbidding his men from eating any food before evening, which causes the army to be faint and weakens their pursuit of the Philistines.
Not great military strategy.
Not at all. And Jonathan, unaware of the oath, tastes some honey. Saul condemns him to death, prioritizing his vow over his son's life and the army's well-being.
But the people step in.
Right, they do. The people intercede decisively, rescuing Jonathan because he has brought about this great deliverance in Israel and did this today with God's help.
So the people are prioritizing Jonathan's spirit-led action over Saul's rigid oath.
Exactly, which further erodes Saul's authority, you'd think.
Yeah.
Saul's ultimate rejection, though, comes during the war against the Amalekites. The Lord commands Saul to totally destroy everything that belongs to them. A complete act of judgment against a long-standing enemy.
Okay, a clear command.
Very clear. But Saul and his army spare King Agag and the best of the sheep and cattle, unwilling to destroy everything. It shows this pattern of partial obedience, doesn't it? Prioritizing his own will, or maybe the people's desire, over God's clear command.
Samuel confronts Saul, pointedly asking, "What then is this bleating of sheep in my ears?" I love that line.
It's great, isn't it? Saul offers the excuse that they spared the best to sacrifice to the Lord.
Which sounds pious, but...
But Samuel delivers that searing rebuke, the iconic statement on obedience.
Mm-hmm.
Does the Lord delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as much as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Mm-hmm. To obey is better than sacrifice. Because you have rejected the word of the Lord, he has rejected you as king.
Game over. That's the definitive statement.
It really is. Saul finally confesses, "I was afraid of the people, and so I gave in to them," revealing his underlying motivation. Fear of man, not fear of God.
That's telling.
As Samuel turns to leave, Saul grabs his robe, tearing it, which Samuel uses as this potent symbol. "The Lord has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today and has given it to one of your neighbors, to one better than you."
Wow.
Samuel then publicly executes King Agag himself, completing the command Saul failed to do. This marks the definitive, irreversible separation between Samuel and Saul, both personally and divinely.
So with Saul definitively rejected, the Lord sends Samuel to Bethlehem, to the house of Jesse, to anoint a new king.
Right, and Samuel initially looks at Jesse's impressive older sons. They have the outward qualities one might expect of a king.
Tall, handsome, probably.
Exactly. But the Lord corrects him with that profound truth. Do not consider his appearance or his height. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart.
A lesson we still need to learn.
Constantly. Jesse parades 7 sons before Samuel, but none are chosen. Only the youngest, David, who is out tending the sheep, a seemingly insignificant role, is brought in.
The shepherd boy.
Described as ruddy with a fine appearance and handsome features, David is anointed by Samuel. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord comes upon David in power.
Highlighting that divine selection prioritizes character and heart over outward presentation or human expectation.
Precisely.
Here's a surprising and, well, tragic turn for Saul, though. Immediately after David's anointing, the Spirit of the Lord departs from Saul.
And what the text describes as an evil spirit from the Lord begins to torment him, a divine judgment allowing this distressing affliction.
And David, the skilled harpist, is coincidentally brought to Saul's court to soothe him with music.
The irony. Saul becomes very fond of David, even makes him his armor-bearer, unknowingly bringing his successor right into his inner circle.
Wild. Now for one of the most famous and pivotal stories, the Philistine champion Goliath.
Ah, yes, Goliath, an intimidating figure over 9 feet tall, defies the armies of Israel for 40 days, terrifying Saul and all his men into paralysis.
It's a picture of national fear, isn't it?
It really is. This moment highlights that true courage, when a nation is paralyzed by fear, often manifests not in physical might, but in an unwavering faith that transcends visible circumstances. Goliath's challenge totally exposes Israel's spiritual weakness at that point.
David, arriving from tending sheep to bring provisions to his brothers at the front lines, hears Goliath's defiance, and he's indignant.
Rightly so. He asks, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?
His oldest brother, Eliab, reacts with anger, though, accuses David of conceit.
Yeah, completely missing the spirit-fueled courage behind David's questions.
Yeah.
He just sees his little brother being presumptuous.
David boldly volunteers to fight Goliath, recounts his prior experience killing both a lion and a bear while protecting his father's sheep.
He declares that the Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. He's drawing on past faithfulness.
Saul tries to equip David with his own armor, but David, recognizing it's not right for him, takes it off.
Which underscores David's reliance on God's proven faithfulness rather than conventional human strength or equipment.
So David approaches Goliath with only his shepherd's staff, 5 smooth stones from the stream, and his sling.
Pretty unconventional weaponry against a giant in full armor.
Goliath, despising the boy and his apparent lack of gear, curses him by his gods. But David retorts with unwavering faith and that profound declaration. You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty. The battle is the Lord's.
Such confidence. And in a stunning moment, David slings a stone, striking Goliath directly in the forehead, causes him to fall.
Then David takes Goliath's own sword and cuts off his head, a symbolic victory affirming divine power.
Totally. The Philistines flee in terror. Israel triumphs. David takes Goliath's head to Jerusalem and his weapons to his own tent, marking the definitive establishment of his heroic reputation.
After this monumental victory, Jonathan, Saul's son and the heir apparent, immediately forms this deep bond with David, loving him as himself.
It's remarkable. Jonathan makes a solemn covenant with David, even giving him his own robe, tunic, sword, bow, and belt.
Symbolizing his recognition of David's future, maybe? And perhaps his own willingness to relinquish what would have been his inheritance.
Certainly seems that way. A remarkable act of selfless loyalty.
David's continued success in every mission given to him by Saul pleases everyone, except Saul.
Right. Here's where Saul's jealousy, that destructive force, takes root. When the women sing Saul slain his thousands and David his tens of thousands, Saul becomes consumed with anger.
He can't handle David getting more praise.
He thinks, what more can he get but the kingdom? From that day on, Saul keeps a jealous eye on David, revealing how envy can poison even the most successful leader.
The evil spirit from God returns to torment Saul, and twice, while David is playing the harp to soothe him, Saul hurls a spear at him, trying to pin him to the wall.
Incredible. David eludes him both times. Saul becomes increasingly afraid of David, knowing the Lord is with David, but has decisively left him. It's a profound reversal of divine favor.
Saul's fear escalates into desperate murder schemes. He tries to have David killed by the Philistines. First, he offers his older daughter Merab in marriage if David serves bravely.
But then he reneges, gives her to another man.
Then when he learns his younger daughter Michal loves David, he offers her but demands a bride price of 100 Philistine foreskins, hoping David will fall in battle.
A gruesome plan. But David, ever resourceful and brave, brings back 200 foreskins and marries Michal.
Which probably just makes Saul even more afraid.
Exactly. Saul's fear and enmity toward David grow even stronger, illustrating the lengths to which paranoia will drive a leader who feels threatened.
Saul now openly instructs Jonathan and all his attendants to kill David. It's out in the open.
But Jonathan, whose loyalty to David is unwavering, warns him. And he speaks persuasively to his father, highlighting David's innocence and his great service to Saul.
That takes courage, standing up to his father, the king.
Absolutely. Demonstrates Jonathan's profound moral compass. Saul, maybe momentarily swayed, promises under oath that David will not be killed.
But it doesn't last, does it?
No. The evil spirit once again comes upon Saul, and he again throws a spear at David. Michal, David's wife now, helps him escape through a window.
And she cleverly deceives Saul's men by placing an idol, a household idol probably, in his bed, buying David precious time.
Right. This event officially initiates David's life as a fugitive, marking a drastic shift in his fortunes. He's on the run now.
David flees to Samuel at Ramah, seeking refuge with his mentor. Saul sends men to capture David.
But remarkably, they, and even Saul himself when he goes, are overcome by the Spirit of God and begin prophesying when they come into Samuel's presence.
Seriously, prophesying.
Yeah, preventing David's capture. It's this clear divine intervention, highlighting God's protective hand over his anointed.
David and Jonathan then share this emotional secret farewell, using prearranged archery signals to confirm Saul's deadly intent.
It's a heartbreaking scene. Jonathan, in a powerful demonstration of selfless loyalty and sacrifice, makes a solemn covenant with David, pledging unfailing kindness to his family even when David becomes king.
Wow.
This moment beautifully underscores the depth of their bond, transcending the political ambitions and personal dangers of the time.
David continues his flight, showing signs of desperation but also remarkable resourcefulness. He goes to Ahimelech, the priest at Nob,
And deceives him by claiming to be on a secret royal mission. He gets consecrated bread reserved for priests, and Goliath's sword.
Risky move, lying to a priest.
Very. Then he seeks refuge with Achish, king of Gath, a Philistine city. But when recognized by Achish's servants, he has to feign insanity, scratching marks on the gate, letting saliva run down his beard.
Whatever it takes to survive.
Exactly, to escape a dangerous situation.
David gathers this motley crew of followers in the cave of Adullam. Who are they?
The text says, all those who were in distress or in debt or discontented. He becomes their leader, about 400 men strong, forming an unlikely army from society's marginalized.
So he's leading the outcasts.
Pretty much. Even his parents find refuge in Moab, showing David's growing leadership and concern for his family.
Saul's paranoia, meanwhile, reaches a horrifying peak. Doeg the Edomite, one of Saul's officials, informs Saul about Ahimelech the priest aiding David.
And Saul, in a fit of uncontrollable rage, orders the massacre of the priests of Nob, 85 men who wore the linen ephod, along with their families and livestock.
An atrocity committed against innocent priests.
It reveals the depravity to which Saul's unchecked fear and envy have led him. Only Abiathar, Ahimelech's son, escapes and flees to David,
providing David with a vital link to divine guidance. Right, because Abiathar brings the ephod.
Exactly. David continues to seek divine guidance through Abiathar's ephod, that device with the Urim, the sacred lots used for divine inquiry.
And he uses it, right, like with Keilah.
Yes. He courageously rescues the town of Keilah from the Philistines. But then, using the ephod, he learns the citizens would betray him to Saul. So he moves on, constantly evading Saul's relentless pursuit through desert strongholds.
Highlighting his reliance on divine counsel and his shrewdness in navigating these treacherous political landscapes.
Absolutely.
Here's a profoundly significant moment amidst the relentless chase. Jonathan secretly visits David in the desert of Ziph.
It's amazing he does this. He strengthens David's faith, reassures him with incredible loyalty. Don't be afraid. You'll be king over Israel, and I will be second to you. Even my father Saul knows this.
Wow. He knows his father knows David will be king.
Seems so. They renew their covenant. A powerful testament to their enduring friendship and Jonathan's selfless recognition of God's choice.
Despite Saul's fervent hunting, David experiences these two profound opportunities to kill Saul,
which offer a critical insight into what it means to honor authority, even when it actively seeks to destroy you.
The first is in a cave at En-Gedi. Saul is relieving himself, unaware David's right there.
Perfect opportunity, his men think. They urge him to kill Saul. But David only cuts off a corner of Saul's robe, and even then he feels conscience-stricken immediately.
Right.
He explicitly refuses to lay a hand on the Lord's anointed, demonstrating his deep respect for God's established authority, regardless of the personal cost or the king's behavior.
David then reveals the cut cloth to Saul, proving his innocence, his choice to spare Saul's life.
And Saul weeps. He acknowledges David's righteousness, even states, "I know that you will surely be king and that the kingdom of Israel will be established in your hands."
He admits it again.
Yeah. David, despite this, swears an oath not to cut off Saul's descendants, showcasing his integrity and faithfulness.
Then Samuel dies. A major moment.
The end of an era. All Israel mourns. David then encounters Nabal, a wealthy but surly and mean Calebite.
What happens there?
Nabal insults David's men and refuses them provisions after they had protected Nabal's shepherds. David, in anger, intends to wipe out Nabal's entire household, a moment of potential rash vengeance.
But Nabal's wife, Abigail, steps in.
Yes. His intelligent and beautiful wife, Abigail, intercepts David with provisions, and this wise, humbling plea. She warns David against needless bloodshed and reminds him that the Lord will make a lasting dynasty for him.
She appeals to his destiny.
Exactly. Subtly encouraging restraint. David praises Abigail for her good judgment, recognizing that she, likely guided by God, prevented him from shedding innocent blood and acting impulsively.
And Nabal.
10 days later, the Lord himself strikes Nabal dead, demonstrating divine justice. David then takes Abigail as his wife, highlighting themes of vengeance averted, personal restraint, and the unexpected unfolding of God's justice.
The second opportunity to kill Saul comes when David and Abishai sneak into Saul's camp at night. Find him sleeping, spear stuck in the ground near his head.
Abishai is eager. "Let me pin him with one thrust."
But David refuses again.
Again, David refuses to harm the Lord's anointed, reiterating his conviction that the Lord himself will strike Saul down or bring about his end. It's not David's place.
He takes Saul's spear and water jug as proof he was there.
Right. Then confronts Saul and Abner from a distance. Saul, recognizing David's voice, confesses his sin again. David reaffirms his trust in the Lord for deliverance, solidifying his moral standing and unwavering faith despite severe provocation.
Despite his remarkable mercy, David, still fearing he'd eventually be killed by Saul, decides to escape to Philistine territory. Settles in Gath with King Achish.
Yeah, he lives there for a year and 4 months, feigning loyalty to Achish by raiding groups like the Geshurites, Girzites, and Amalekites.
While cleverly misleading Achish into believing he was raiding Israelite territory, it's a strategic deception born of a desperate need for survival.
Definitely cunning. When the Philistines gather their forces for war against Israel, Achish intends for David and his men to accompany him into battle. He trusts David's feigned loyalty.
Awkward position for David.
Extremely. However, the other Philistine commanders remember that song. Saul has slain his thousands and David his tens of thousands. They object vehemently.
They don't trust him.
They fear David would turn against them during the fight. An ironic twist where David's past triumphs over the Philistines now protect him from fighting his own people. Achish reluctantly sends David away.
Meanwhile, Saul, facing the formidable Philistine army, is filled with terror. He inquires of the Lord for guidance,
but receives no answer. Through dreams, Urim, or prophets, silence.
In utter desperation, he disguises himself and seeks out a woman who is a medium at Endor, despite having previously expelled all mediums from the land.
This moment raises a crucial insight, doesn't it? When a leader, abandoned by divine guidance due to persistent disobedience, turns to forbidden practices in desperation, it seals their tragic fate.
What happens with the medium?
The medium, perhaps surprisingly, brings up Samuel's spirit, who confirms Saul's rejection by the Lord due to his disobedience regarding the Amalekites.
No comfort there.
None at all. Samuel's spirit delivers a chilling, immediate prophecy. Israel will be handed over to the Philistines, and Saul and his sons will die the very next day. Saul collapses in fear and exhaustion, knowing his end is near.
As David and his men return from being dismissed by the Philistines, they arrive at Ziklag to find it burned, their wives and children taken captive by the Amalekites.
Utter devastation. David and his men weep until they have no strength left. In their distress, his own men even talk of stoning him, revealing the depth of their despair and David's personal low point as a leader.
But David,
in a moment of profound resilience, finds strength in the Lord. He inquires of the Lord through Abiathar's ephod and is told to pursue the raiding party.
So he gets direction.
Yes. He and his men pursue, find an abandoned Egyptian slave who leads them directly to the Amalekite camp. David recovers everything taken, including his 2 wives.
A successful rescue.
And he establishes a statute for Israel. Those who stay with the supplies share equally with those who go to battle, demonstrating his wise and equitable leadership, even in the face of adversity.
The narrative then culminates in the decisive, tragic battle on Mount Gilboa.
The final showdown. The Israelites flee before the Philistines. Many fall. Saul's 3 sons, including Jonathan, David's closest friend, are killed.
Oh, Jonathan, too. That's
It
heartbreaking.
is. Saul himself is critically wounded by archers and, unable to convince his armor-bearer to kill him, falls on his own sword. Dying with his armor-bearer, his desperate self-inflicted death marks the bitter end of his ill-fated reign.
What happens to the bodies?
The next day, the Philistines find the bodies, decapitate Saul, strip his armor, and fasten his body to the wall of Beth-shan as a gruesome trophy.
Humiliating.
However, the valiant men of Jabesh-Gilead, remembering Saul's earlier act of deliverance for them, undertake a courageous night mission. They retrieve the bodies of Saul and his sons, burn them, and bury their bones with honor.
A final act of loyalty.
Exactly. Offers a poignant, if tragic, counterpoint to the failures of Saul's later reign.
What an incredible journey we've taken through these opening chapters of 1 Samuel. From Hannah's desperate prayer to Samuel's prophetic rise, from Eli's tragic downfall to Saul's meteoric ascent and, well, equally dramatic decline.
And finally, to David's unexpected emergence and the complex beginnings of his own journey as a fugitive. This deep dive truly reveals the intricate dance between human choices and divine purpose, doesn't it?
It really does.
We see how leadership is forged in unexpected places, the immense weight of obedience versus the devastating cost of rebellion, and the profound consequences of both faithfulness and self-serving ambition. The story is just packed with aha moments about character, power, and what it truly means to be a leader chosen not by human standards, but by divine selection.
So what does this all mean for you listening as you reflect on this powerful narrative of Israel's transition from a loose confederacy to a monarchy? Consider this provocative thought. In a world where we often seek external validation, conform to popular opinion, or covet visible power, what does the journey of Samuel, Saul, and David teach us about where true authority and enduring strength really come from? Is it about outward appearance or something much deeper? Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep getting well informed.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.